It was, yeah, it was pretty terrifying. 7-year-old me hated it. I can't remember Halo 1 too much. I did beat Halo 1, though. I remember, the part with the Marines getting jumped by the flood. I can't remember a lot of that game. I think there was, like, a jungle sequence where you went around killing, like, invisible, elites. Some weird shit like that. I can't remember. Are you enjoying the new game now? Yeah, I am. You talking about Pathologic? Very much so. Ooh. Well, the Flutter, weren't they like a measure to stop the rings or something? The Halo, whatever the fuck the Halo lore is, I can't remember exactly. But the Flood were kind of this like failsafe. They're meant to be stopping like these weapons or some shit like that. They were like a manufactured species. Halo was made to stop the Flood. Okay, so maybe it was the exact opposite then. Andrew, 6 months. Thanks, buddy. No, we're currently playing Pathologic. Witcher's being played, yes. The Witcher franchise is locked in, so we're going to be playing 1 through 3. When are we playing 1 through 3? I don't know yet. Did you murder enough people to figure out the game? We figured out a lot, and it has nothing to do with murdering people. There was a guy who showed up in chat. He's like, all I did was ask, okay, I need a sense of direction. Can you please just vaguely tell me what to do? And without spoiling the game, without anything, I was told to, you know, try this, try that. This is the goal of the game. You know, whatever it may be. And, you know, it kind of just clicks. It just eventually clicks. Holy fuck, help me, please. I'm so dead. Did we get him? We didn't even get anyone. Once you kind of have, like, the gist of what you should be doing in Pathologic, the game completely opens up. It's that sense of direction in the early game that just pisses you off. You feel like you're going nowhere. You feel like what you're doing is just pointless, you know? Not anymore, though. Well, helping people out in certain districts will certainly help you in the end. People are more inclined to help you, right? Bring over goods and stuff like that, and at that point you can save more people. You can survive. Such a slog. Witcher 1 is that bad? Well, it's not that I needed... See, the problem with Pathologic is I needed a sense of direction. Not like, oh my god, tell me how to play this game, but like, you know, I would say, okay, what is the goal of this game right now? To find out what happened to my father and to avoid conflict, right? How do you progress in that? How do you understand that in this game? What are you supposed to be doing? And a lot of it is just interacting with people. That's basically the gist of it. Interact with people. And there is no set path. You kind of just wander about finding things, talking to people. You don't know anything in this city. You used to live here, and now you just don't. It's a game of interacting, right? Kind of finding your way in the world that you haven't known in so long. That's what it is. So, like, I would have wandered in circles for 3,000 years. I don't want to be told how to play the game exactly, but, like, you know, if there was literally a blurb on screen saying, talk to people, do things, blah, 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 you know? Yeah. What's the point of harvesting organs? I don't know yet. We'll see. Maybe nothing. Pathologic is cool. I think, you know, what adds to its charm is that it's so ridiculous. I think that's the idea, right? It's in the journal. No, I know it's in the journal. I know how to play the game now. I know how, I gave it some thought, you know, with the vague things we talked about on stream with people who've played the game. I have a better sense of direction and what I should be doing. For sure. And you only have 12 days to figure it out, so, you know, that's something. What am I fucking buying? No, I do like the game now, for sure. It's just, when you run in circles for 2 hours in the opening of the game, and everyone's beating your ass, and everything is so jank, it really isn't that fun. You know, you kind of have to piece things together with, like, when you start the game out, and you have this, like, 12-day vision, or rather, on the 12th day, you know, you see what happens to the town you end up in. Like, you end up back in that town, day 1, and you're thinking, like, okay, holy shit. In 12 days, this is what's going to happen, so I gotta figure out what happened to my father and potentially avert the, plague apocalypse or some shit like that, right? You know, that's the gist of what you're doing, but how do you figure all that shit out? You talk to people. You know, there's no real set objective in the game, you just kind of find your way. That's it. Interacting with people without it being painful. That's what Death Stranding was. Death Stranding is 100% a game about interacting with people. Jesus. Cool game, though. No, I know that you can. Yeah, I know you can. That I do know. Dude, everyone's got mobility. Dead Space movie. That would be fucking amazing. You know, I heard John Carpenter wanted to direct that, which would be perfect, to be honest. Like, he knows a thing or two about, gore fests. Slow burns, right? The whole game, the whole movie would be a slow burn. I've seen the animated Dead Space movies. Yeah, those are crazy. And they're good. PAX DF, my favorite skin? Not really, but it's iconic. They only ever hire directors that hate the source material? It's, you know, it really depends on who you get in charge of a project. Like, yeah, there will be directors who don't like the source material. And if that's the case, why are you hiring them? But there will be people who like it, but still have ideas of maybe a few things that should be changed. I mean, even Peter Jackson said, if we want to do Lord of the Rings, some things have to be different, right? No one complained. Nobody complained. You know, it can go sideways, though, right? Like, the Witcher series fell apart on, what, Netflix? I'm sure there's more, but that I'm aware of. Halo, that was one of them, yeah. Why would you ever show Master Chief? Oh, guys, you gotta relate to Master Chief. You need to. Isn't that what you wanted back then? It's like, what are you doing? Defensive boots? Not too boring. Fallout was cool. Fallout was awesome. I don't know much about Fallout, but, like, I guess you know, it's a bunch of bunkers and, you know, the apocalypse happened and blah, 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 blah. Bombs went off. Grave says Tobias. I've seen Last of Us, yeah. Again, I haven't played The Last of Us, but I enjoyed the shows. When we play the games, you know, at that point I can be like, oh, that's why that was happening in the show, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we'll see. You know, you do want people who care about the source material and understand maybe how to slightly make things a little bit more understandable in terms of maybe, you know, it being a show and not a game. I don't think you could ever take something one-to-one from a game or a book and adapt it into a show. Some things just don't work, you know? Maybe they have. Maybe they've done stuff like that, but I'm not aware. Yeah, so why would you get those people to fucking... You know what, though? Not everyone's going to be... How could you ever get a bunch of Halo fans who've made movies and stuff like that to kind of work on a show? Like, yeah, okay, Halo's very popular, but... I don't think you need to know the source material to work on a movie. I think it's more so the head of directing the show should know a lot about the source material. If you've never heard of Halo and you're working on the movie and getting, you know, directions by whoever to do this, do that, do this, I think that's fine. You know, not everyone's a gamer, but I think if you want to head a project like that, you should know a lot about what you're doing. Directors hired to make money. See, yeah, that is bad. That I'm not a fan of. If you want to make something, you know, in said universe, you should know the source material. You're just doing it a disservice at that point, right? But there's nothing wrong with hiring people who've never played Halo to work on a Halo movie, if it's not something serious, you know? Yeah. You gotta care about what you're doing. It's like, you know what we should do? We should make a Halo movie, but it has nothing to do with what everyone grew up with. Let's just make it. Right? Don't you want to see Master Chief's face? I mean, the show, in my opinion, I've seen a few clips of it. I thought it looked okay. Aesthetically, it looked kind of very Halo, right? Was it just the writing that was terrible?
This'll do for now.
Mochi kiss.
Disloyal. I'm not gonna look, buddy. I know it's you, and I know what you're doing, and I gotta thank you again, actually. Last night, you also donated $5 for Mochi, and I forgot to say thank you, so thanks for the 10 bucks, man. Really do appreciate it. And Mochi does appreciate it, too. He's been a baby for a while. He's been very nice. Not as demonic as usual. He's got a fresh stock of potatoes, and he loves it. So thank you, man. The writing was dog shit. Yeah. Happy to hear. Hey, thank you. You're always giving Mochi something, dude. It does go a long way. It seems almost like every few days we're getting Mochi something. Oops. Mochi's a year and a half old, I believe. Mochi! Hi, Mochi! He's here with me. I'll bring him over after this game, actually. I liked it, but cringe fans cried. They should be happy that we have another version of history and not the same game's lore. You know what's interesting? I actually like the idea of creating a show that isn't one-to-one to a story from a game. I think there is room for creative endeavors to create within a universe, right? You have a game, you create within that game, but sometimes I guess things just don't resonate as well, you know? It's not like everything you see in a video game needs to be put to screen one-to-one. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. It just does not work in TV or film, any of that stuff. It's just how it's handled, I suppose. Again, I haven't seen the Halo show. I can't say much on that. But I don't think I'd ever want a show of one-to-one everything happening. Right? It's cool to have different... Because, like, if you've played the games or you've read the comics and you get a one-to-one screen adaptation, isn't that kind of boring? Because you already know what's happening. You know? It just doesn't seem... It doesn't seem as exciting. But, you know, don't completely go out of your way to destroy something for the sake of it's new. It should be in the vein of what everyone knows, but, like, a one-to-one copy of a game in a movie... I'm not so sure. Yeah. Like, you know what's interesting? This is, Oh, what am I doing? So, have you guys heard of the new movie, Until Dawn? You know the game, right? With, like, the Wendigo and all that crap. They're coming out with a movie of Until Dawn. And you think to yourself, you're like, you know, the game was cool. It was interesting. The story was creepy. And if I want to go watch the movie of Until Dawn, and I already know what's going on in the story, isn't that fucking pointless? It's like, oh, at this point, everyone's gonna die. Oh my god, at this point, the Wendigo's gonna eat her. It's like... I don't know. I think something different. But, like, maybe that wasn't a good example because the Until Dawn movie is so strange it has kind of nothing to do with, like, the game. There's Wendigos in it, but... yeah, maybe that wasn't a good comparison, but... All I'm saying is... you know, if you keep it in the vein of that, but make it fresh... Hollywood crap that didn't try to be something close to the story of the manga. Yeah, see... I guess, to be fair, Until Dawn, the movie doesn't look like that, but it still looks exciting. Doesn't seem to be working with the source material too much, but... Everyone's gonna have their own opinion on things. It's just cool to see things in, yeah, a different light for sure. Oops. Holy moly. Arcane is excellent. You know what, though? The thing is with Arcane is that it recreated... It created its canon. Like, when it comes to lore, to, like, show adaptations, again, some things won't resonate as well as a show. Arcane, to me... You know, people don't like how they handled Victor and yada yada yada, but, like... You know, what's another robot uprising in something, instead of this, like, weird evolution where people have to be more than just human, you know? There's certain things that, again, are very, suited for gaming, and then maybe not so suited for,
Did you see the new animated Predator series? It's in Arcane
yeah,
style.
I saw, like, a little clip of it, and the first thing I said was, are these the guys who made the Arcane show? It looked pretty good. I didn't see the whole trailer, but it looked cool. I think the idea, though, in terms of, you know, having something established and then creating something on top of that established thing, is that which one is canon? I don't really like the idea of this multiverse nonsense where, like, oh, it's canon in this, in the show, and it's canon in League. If you've got a big story to tell set in a world that, you know, you've developed, I think you should have one continuous story. Personally. No, Arcane is the canon. Yeah, Arcane's the canon, 100%. It overwrit everything League had done with its lore and whatnot, and I think that's correct. I think you should do that. Because then at that point, you go back and you rewrite a few things, right? I like that it's canon. I don't like having two, you know, like... it's just it's a weird topic, man. I like that people don't continuously make the same thing, but at the same time, you know, the canon and kind of how the universe is... I don't know. Well, multiverses were, but what I'm saying is, I don't like when there's two worlds represented in two different things, and, you kind of ask yourself, like, which one is correct and which one isn't, and it's like, well, both of them are correct. It's the multiverse. I don't know, man. It's just hard to explain. It's so strange. That's probably why there aren't so many, like, adaptations. Like, okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, then. How does The Witcher go about creating its shows? Apparently they're dog shit. Dog water, you know, putrid ass, correct? The books are the most canon thing, correct? The books are, like, the actual canon, and then the shows are more of, like, to the canon, but slightly altered a little bit. Is that how that works? Or did the directors think they could do better and make it, like, actual canon? So the shows are more of like a representation of the world, sticking to mostly canon things. But they're both separate entities that could be viewed as canon. Like, you have the show's canon, and then you have the book's canon. Is that what that is? Or are they so close that, like, the minute details don't matter as much and it's still all canon? It started off as canon, it was based on short stories from the books. That's cool. They mocked the source material and thought they could do better. Isn't that just doing a disservice to the show? Why would you make the show, then? If you're gonna mock the source material, but you're making a show about a book series that was so beloved, it's like, what are you doing at that point? Why would you even want to make it, then? For money? Which I guess is true, for money. It's so strange. I don't know. You know, one side of me says I enjoy how different it is in some cases. You know, not so out of the realm of possibilities, but, like, at the same time, I don't... It's weird having, like, multiple canon things. Like, the books are canon, but so is the show, you know what I mean? It was his dream role. No, Henry Cavill loves that shit. That's cool. I mean, now he's doing Warhammer. So, you know, if they, he really cares about Warhammer. That show, I'm sure, is in good hands. Yeah, Warhammer is cool. Ghost in the Shell live-action movie? Not really. Maybe. I've never played the game. But, you know... To a degree, though, if you, again, like I said, if you want to make a show based on a game, a book series, not everything in the book will resonate to screen. You know, you have to kind of make it a little bit different. Here and there. Unless you can have, like, a perfect one-to-one representation of the book that's interesting, but, like, it's not believable. It's not just... I don't think you can do that. Jesus, this character's cringe. Holy moly. I did not need to flash. It's good. It's a good faith thing. Yeah. It's in good faith that what you're creating is akin to the universe. It's doing it a service than a disservice. Yeah. It's just... House of Leaves? I have no clue what that is. I just... I don't know. Some things can't make it to screen. Some things are just... I'm sure everything can make it to screen with the funding, but like... Or the right directing, I should say. Like, how would you ever make a Gotrek and Felix movie when most of what they do is walk around and talk? And then they have, like, 1 or 2 fights in the entire book. You know what I mean? It's like, do you want to be entirely faithful and have a movie about walking around? You'd want a little bit more action. You want a bit more conflict. You know, you can have those slow parts, but, like... Christopher Lee was a huge fan of books, and the directors valued his opinions, and the movies turned into a masterpiece. That's great. It's awesome. You see, I really... You know what? It's interesting, because, like, books have so much more details than movies. Movies are more of a fun journey that you follow, and it isn't so complex. There isn't much going on compared to, like, the book that can actually have lengthy conversations and can slow burn you through, like, 300 pages of you know, nonsense, right? Just world building, living in the world. Why do I have Azonias? So, I guess I can understand both points of view. Nice. If you want to read Warhammer Fantasy, you read Gotrek and Felix. Gotrek and Felix is, like, the best intro to Warhammer Fantasy. They kind of delve into, like, most things. They deal with a lot of different creatures from different regions. You know, you're following the adventures of 2 people and their friends along the way. It takes them all over the old world. Yeah, Gotrek and Felix is, like, a great place to start. There's a lot of books, though. Like, 4... I think the mainline old-school fantasy Gotrek and Felix has, like, 16, 18 novels. I've got them all. I've read them all.
An enemy has been slain.
Like, 16 or something? No, Gotrek and Felix is good. Yeah. Try the audiobooks, too. The audiobooks are great. Let's read them on stream. I've already read them. The audiobooks are fun, though. They're all voice-acted. Well, no one likes how Gotrek and Felix were handled in the end times. That was a fucking disservice, for sure. That was, like, one of the greatest adventures in Warhammer. Flushed down the drain pretty quickly. And for the sake of sales, so... No, Jonathan Keeble's really good. He's awesome. That wasn't a... That was a... It was a short story from a... Like a little... Over the years, I've gone through, like, the Warhammer catalog and tried to find books that I never had read. The one I bought during the event was, it's a short story in a book. End Times. the end times had a lot of cool stuff, but like they really just threw characters away. It's so sad seeing like 20, 30 years of character development, books, you know, miniatures, lore bits, everything. It's so cool. And then they're like, you know what, guys? We're not making enough money. Time to kill everyone.
An ally has been slain.
It's bad.
Inhibitor has been destroyed.
The example would be, imagine League of Legends having 50 years of developed lore, beloved characters, and people who really, really, really enjoy all of it, and I mean thoroughly. And then one day they say, League isn't profitable, we have to remake it, and they kill everything off, and then remake, you know, absolutely everything for the sake of money. Yeah. It's like, did you love TFing Graves for 25 years? They did that 3 times? Well, not, you know, they rewrote lore for certain characters, but not for everyone. We're talking about an entire universe gone. Everything you loved is dead. Every League of Legends character is gone. Their lore is null. They're dead. Like, these guys get godded like fucking nobodies in the end times. You just destroy. Yeah, no, it's bad. You know, some of the end times I actually liked. There was a lot of, like, really epic last stands and badass, you know, fights and whatnot, but some of these characters went out like nobodies, man. It's sad. Well, Age of Sigmar... I don't mind Age of Sigmar, but it isn't Warhammer Fantasy. It's not as, like... It doesn't hit the same. For me, at least. And I grew up with fantasy, that's why, so... But it is cool to see characters survive the end times. You know, Gotrek Gurnison is still going about. That's fucking badass, right? The guy can't die. Some characters did make it. But they're different, you know. They're not the same character they once were. The stories that they had and the people they shared them with, they're all gone. You know, who is Gotrek without Felix, right? Felix is fucking long dead. It's like TF without Graves. Well, they rewrote League lore. They haven't really rewritten anything Bilgewater-wise. You know, when they probably will. I think with the new season of Bilgewater coming out and all that stuff, they most likely will. Arcane was the biggest, like... Well, the Skarner's lore, Arcane... stuff like that. Yeah, it was rewritten. I'm not even a fan of those characters, so I'm not, like, too icked out about it, but... Ooh.
You have been slain.
Well, you know, sometimes things don't stick anymore. People can like different iterations of characters and different, you know, pieces of lore that were written whenever, but sometimes things don't make sense anymore, and you have to rewrite them. I'm for that. I don't think whatever's written is like 100% set in stone if it just doesn't work like it used to, or if the narrative changes and you kind of want to change that, you know, progressively. I don't think it's bad. Not everything is going to mesh well. You know, as stories progress, as characters progress, as writing gets better, you know, they can take things in different directions and decide to, you know, go back and say, this didn't work, you know, this makes a bit more sense now. I think that's fine. If it's better than what it was. If it makes more sense than what it was previously, is the idea. Arcane shouldn't be canon. I disagree. I think it should.
A summoner has disconnected.
You know, you can disagree with what happened in Arcane, but, like, it is a